Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the final review and go through every single problem. This first presentation will be operations with whole numbers. This will cover problems 1 through 7 of the final review. I recommend doing these problems on your own first before watching the videos. Please note there are no calculators allowed on the final exam, so you must do these problems by hand. Okay, so let's start with adding whole numbers. The key thing to remember when adding whole numbers is make sure you line up the columns anchoring on the right. So one of the things that you can do is remember addition, order does not matter. So I can write this in whatever order I want. I'm going to start with my larger number, and I'm going to progress down to my smaller numbers. So I'm going to do 540, 481, and 67. So what do I mean by anchoring on the right? That means that line up your right columns. If your right columns are lined up, the rest of them should be lined up as well. So if we go ahead and add now, we get 1 plus 7 is 8. 4 plus 8 plus 6, we have 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 8 is 18, and 1 plus 5 plus 4 is 10. So our answer is 1088. Okay, let's talk about rounding. First thing we want to do is we want to identify the place being rounded to. So where is the hundredths column? My 6 is in the hundredths column. I'm going to look at the digit to the right, which is the 5. If it is 5 or more, we round up. If less than 5, we round down. So since 5 is 5 or more, we're going to round up, which means I want to add 1 onto the 6. I'm going to make it a 7. And then I want to replace all digits to the right with zeros. So we get 1700. We're done with this one. Okay, so our next problem is a division problem. One of the things you do want to be very careful about is remember that with division there's lots of different notations to use. Since we are in whole numbers, we want to express our answer in remainder form. That does not mean add decimals and zeros. This means once we get to our last digit, we are done. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to put the first number inside. We're going to put the second number outside. We want to use long division. So the first thing I want to know is what is the first number divisible by 13? It is going to be 55. Remember that we want to put our answer above the second 5. Always put your answer above the rightmost digit that you are working with. So 13 goes into 55 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We're going to carry a 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. Subtract, we get 3. We bring down our 7. 13 goes into 37 twice. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract, we get 11. We bring down our 4. And 13 goes into 114 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. We're going to carry the 2. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Subtract, we get a remainder of 10. So our final answer is 428, remainder 10. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about multiplication. To multiply, I'm going to put my larger number on top. And my smaller number on the bottom. Just like with addition and subtraction, we're going to anchor to the right. We want to multiply each digit of the top number by each digit of the bottom number and add carried digits as needed. We want to line up the right digit of our answer with the digit you are working with in the bottom number. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So I'm going to start with my rightmost digit. I'm going to start with the 3. We're going to multiply 3 times 4. We get 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Okay, let's go ahead and multiply by 1 now. 1 times 4 is 4, and I want to line it up underneath the 1, or line it up underneath the left 2. We're going to angle our answer in. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5. And 1 times 5 is 5. From there, we add the results. So starting on the right, we get 2 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 7 plus 7 is 14. We carry the 1. 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. And 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. So we get 72,462. Okay, number 5, we have Jackson earned $48,678 in 12 months. We want to use front-end rounding to find how much he earned per month. This should say to estimate how much he earned per month. So remember that with estimation, when we talk front-end rounding, we want to round each number to the leftmost digit and then perform our operation. Remember, estimating is round, then calculate, instead of calculate and then round. So what we have here is we have 48,678 divided by 12. This is how we would calculate how much he earned per month. Now, to find our estimate, we're going to round each one of these to the left. So, my leftmost digit in the first number is the 4. I'm going to look at the 8. It tells me to round up. So I get 50,000. We also want to do the same thing to the second number. Second number is 12. I'm going to round this down. 2 tells me 2 is smaller than 5, and so we're going to leave the 1 the same and replace all the other ones with zeros. So now if we divide 50,000 by 10, I can cross out a 0, and we get $5,000 per month. And that is our estimate. Okay, number 6, find the prime factorization of 24. We want to use a factor tree for this. So let's start with 24. I want to know what are two numbers that multiply to 24. Keep in mind there's lots of ways to factor this, but I'm going to break this down into 4 times 6. 4, is it prime? The answer is no. 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Is 6 prime? The answer is no. 6 is equal to 2 times 3. Now all of these new numbers are prime numbers, and so we do have our prime factorization. 24 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, or we can write with exponents, 2 cubed times 3. Okay, last one for this part on our whole numbers. We want to simplify an expression. We're going to use order of operations, or remember, order of operations is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So one thing to remember about please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, multiplication and division must be done from left to right. Same thing with addition and subtraction, must be done left to right. So let's go ahead and look at this problem. The first thing, do we have any parentheses? Technically no, because remember parentheses is simplify inside. The 3, can I simplify 3? The answer is no, 3 is just 3. That actually counts as a multiplication step or multiplication notation. So we don't have parentheses. Do we have exponents? No. So now we want to go ahead and do our multiplications and our divisions. So we have 16 divided by 4 is 4. And we have 2 times 3 is minus 6. So that takes care of our multiplications and our divisions. And now we want to go ahead and add and subtract from left to right. So 12 plus 4 is 16. Minus 6 gives me 10. All right, that takes care of the first 7 problems. Our operations with whole numbers. We'll go ahead and move on to the next presentation, which will be our review of fractions.